What's up, guys? I know this is kind of back to my old roots as opposed to the current videos that I've been posting, but today I got a 2000 Honda Accord in here. It's kind of a rough car, but customer said it had a misfire, and I got it in and diagnosed that it had a dead cylinder on number 3. Did a compression test on it, and compression came out good. It had like 120 psi on the compression, so which is decent. And swapped out the coil packs, didn't change anything. So I pulled the injector, and the injector, I swapped it between number 2 and number 3, and then the misfire went to number 2. So that tells me that it needs an injector, and so I went and got an injector from the junkyard today, and now I'm going to swap that out. And also, as you can see here, it has some auto light spark plugs in it. These are terrible for Hondas. Don't ever put an auto light spark plug in your Honda. Use a Denso or an NGK. Just don't do this. So I stopped by the parts store and picked up a set of Denso spark plugs. Typically I like to use NGK, but they didn't have but 4 of the NGKs in stock, so I went ahead and picked up the Densos because they had those in stock. So as you can see here, Denso. All right, Denso or NGK, can't go wrong with them. So I'm gonna do a little video on replacing the injector in this Accord and installing these spark plugs. All right, so hopefully this is gonna be all the tools we need. All right, so we have a little 1/4" ratchet with an 8mm socket. Now, you could probably get away with a deep well socket, or if you had something reduced down where it can be a small socket. It needs to be 8mm though. We'll need a flathead screwdriver. All right, we'll need a pair of pliers. I like these. They have the little 90-degree bend on the end. All right, we'll need a 12mm socket. All right, we'll need a 5/8 spark plug socket. This one actually has a magnet in it rather than a rubber. The magnet works pretty well, especially on a good plug. Sometimes it doesn't work too well on the auto light plugs, because the auto light plugs sometimes don't have the magnetic capabilities, but it feels like that one does pretty good. All right, NGKs and everything else, it works pretty well. Also here you see we have an extension. This is just a 3/8 extension, I guess probably about 6 inches long. All right, and then I have my 3/8 ratchet here, and this is a 6mm Allen. All right, you could use a regular conventional Allen wrench like these, but I like the socket style. This is a flex head ratchet. You don't have to have a flex head, but I like the flex head. All right, it's my favorite ratchet. So hopefully this will be all the tools we need. All right, so back over here at the car, I also have electric impact. You don't have to have electric impact, but it helps. All right. Some people like to disconnect the battery. I personally don't do it. I don't think it's required for this job, so I don't do it. All right. So you'll begin by removing these covers with your flathead screwdriver. Okay, it's got 2 here. Removes this cover. Set that off to the side, and then we'll remove this cover. It's got 1 here and 1 here. All right. Removes this cover. All right, and then this one just pulls up. Okay, it's got like a little part here and a little tab here that these little pins push down into. Okay, just give that a tug and it'll come up, and then the bolts in here are 12s. All right, it has 2 nuts here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts, and a nut down here. All right. Now I've already got some of these loose because I had them off when I was diagnosing which injector was bad. So as I previously stated, I switched the injectors between number 2 and number 3, which are on the back side of the motor, because it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I replaced the injector from number 2 and number 3, and switch them out. So the dead cylinder now is the injector on number 2. So we'll be pulling off this upper intake plenum to replace that. So to do that, you just use your 12 millimeter. You could use a ratchet or an electric impact if you have it. All right, you just remove the 3 nuts and the 6 bolts. All right, that's the 6 bolts. I already took the 3 nuts off. Set them to the side. All right. Now then, I may have to move my camera because it's sitting on the air box. All right. We'll see if I can get by without it. All right, so for this step, I would recommend, all right, so you have 3 vacuum lines back here and the connector right here for the air intake temperature sensor. So you can squeeze that and get that one off. Remove these 3 lines. All right, then just pull off. And then there's one more vacuum line right over here. Got a clamp on it. You'll probably need your pliers. That's why I like these. All right, that's off. All right, then you ain't got to get all fancy and everything to take this off all the way. So it should be able to lift up now because we took these vacuum lines off. And look at that, right over to the side. Now, this intake tube is torn on this one previously, so you may want to remove your intake tube, if you don't want to rip yours. It's one little Phillips head screw right here on this clamp. So it's really quick and easy to remove that. So if you want to remove that, grab your Phillips head screwdriver and remove that. All right. And then it opens up the access to our fuel rails down here. All right. Injectors have a little clip on each side, so you just smash them down and up they come. All right, and you take this little harness and move it up out the way. All right, and then you'll need your 8 millimeter. All right, and it has a little bolt here and a little bolt here. All right, and they're both on the fuel rail. That's just 2 bolts. All right, so there's one like right here and one that's like right here. All right, so we'll use our little 8 millimeter to get those off. All right, that one's loose. All right, and I just took my 8 millimeter socket off of the ratchet, and then I'll just put it down here and turn it by hand. All right, our little bolt out of there. It's just like it's an M6 bolt, which is typically a 10 millimeter head, but it's a 8 millimeter head. 2 of those. All right, there's the other one. And then the fuel rail just pulls up. All right. And then we can see our injectors here. So this is the injector we need to replace. To get it out, just twist it. And there it is. All right. All right, so this is my replacement injector. What I like to do is take a little lube. You can use PB Blaster, or I actually have some silicone spray over here. Whatever, just something to lube the seal. All right. Right here on the top of the injector, this O-ring. All right, just a little bit, don't take a whole lot. Back to where we were. Take the injector once you lube up that seal, and it'll plug right into the fuel rail like you can see here. All right. Make sure you take your time, kind of turn it some to where it'll fit up in there. Make sure that that O-ring doesn't get messed up while you're doing that, okay? All right, and then also I see that on these, you see how the this O-ring is stuck on this injector. Now I would recommend taking these off and then putting them back in the manifold. All right, because if you don't, it's gonna be really hard to get that injector to seat down in here, because that seal swells out and you can't really get it down in the manifold. All right, so got all three of those in the O-rings in there. So now we could take our fuel rail and make sure that they all line up. All right, simple as that. And then we'll get our 2 bolts that came out of. You also may want to make sure you have a magnet on hand. I have been prone to dropping these before. So as I stated, I've been prone to dropping these, right? So here we just have a stick magnet. And I'll go fish it out. If I can find it. Oh. Alright, so another thing that I found really helps me is if put the socket on the bolt, it kind of helps. Alright, so I've got both of those started. Now I'm going to use my 1/4-inch ratchet. Put it back on my socket here. Snugged it up. Alright, and then harness back down where it goes. Injector clips back on here. These little tabs have broken off of the clips on these, but they'll stay in place if you just push them down real good. And then lift our intake back up and back over. Put our vacuum, see, this one goes to the brake booster, is the big one. Alright, get that back on. And we'll put these back on here. There's 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. Alright. And then we got our one over here that goes to the PCB. Get that back on. These are pliers to put that clamp back on. Five bolts, or 6 bolts. $12mm. Take this little bracket here, put it back over the 2 little studs. Start your 2 12 nuts on there. This one down here has a flat washer. All right. I'll put that on there and then use our last 12 nut. Zip these down. Alright, now, like I said, I'm putting plugs in this thing also. So, since I'm doing spark plugs, I'm not going to go ahead and put the plastic covers back on yet. And I'll put those on after I get done doing the spark plugs. Just to make sure they're not in the way, you know. Alright, so to do the front bank here, this is number 4, number 5, number 6. To do those, you'll need your 6mm Allen. Again, you could do this with a regular Allen, but I just have my socket here with my flex head. Get these broke loose. Alright, and then I'm actually going to take them off of this. Just use my hand. Those up there, and then we'll pull the plug out, the coil pack just out a little bit, and then there's a little tab right here. Push the tab and pull it off, and then out comes your coil pack. Alright, so we'll repeat that for these 3. Alright, so it's not imperative as the order of which these coils come out, so it doesn't matter if you mix them up, max, whatever. It's not gonna matter as long as each, one gets a coil pack back in it. It doesn't matter. So you can just lay them off to the side. And now is when we'll use our spark plug socket. As I said before, it is a 5/8 spark plug socket. I don't know if you can see that or not. 5/8. All right. Just put it down the hole like so. You can use your handy dandy ratchet. All right. And if you do this and you have oil down in here, well, then you need to put some tube seals in your valve cover. To do that, you have to pull the valve cover. We don't have any oil in these so far, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, this was an NGK that I put in there the other day when I was doing some testing. And so now we have our pre-gapped Denso plugs, so we don't have to gap them or anything. You just take it out, take this little cap off. We have our plug here. Make sure it fits good down in our socket. And these are nice because it doesn't have that rubber in it to mess with the plug. Ease it down in there, start it by hand, run it down as far as you can. All right, take your ratchet. All right, just snug those, all we gotta do. Ain't gotta be super tight. And we'll repeat that for these two. All right, so now I have all three of these plugs in, number 4, number 5, and number 6. So we can just put our coil packs back in. As I said before, it doesn't matter what order they go in, they're all the same. Just stick them in. All right, so we got our coil packs back in here, and then we take our 3 bolts. Our ratchet, snug them up a little bit. And put our injector clips back on. Now typically this isn't as bad because our normal Honda Accord doesn't have this bar. This is an aftermarket bar that someone's added, so we're having to work around this. We're going to take our 6mm Allen, and we're going to take these 3 coil packs loose down here. Alright, so once you get those 3 undone, then we can pull the coil packs out, just like we did on the front side. Remove the wire, and then coil pack. Coil pack. Coil pack. Alright, spark plug socket again. And our ratchet. Take it out the rest of the way. Yeah. So we can see there, good old fashioned auto light. I call them auto crap. Don't put those on a Honda. Now again, you can take all 6 of these and put them in a pile. It doesn't matter which hole they go back in, because the front ones can go to the back, vice versa. It doesn't matter, right? They're all the exact same. I see people that will number these things and like make sure they're back in the same spot. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. So once you get your 3 coil packs back in there, you can put your screws back in. The coil pack wiring clips, hook them back up. And we're done. We're done with that. All right, so now we just got to put our covers back on, and we'll start with this one. All right, so you have to make, there's typically a clip here, which you can see that one just broke, and we still have one here. So line them up with this and that. And sometimes it also helps to throw some like silicone spray or PP blaster or something in the rubber grommet. Plastic can get old and hard to, the rubber can get old and kind of hard to deal with. Alright, as you can see, this job is 100% done. So alright, so this thing's been sitting for a while, and I just dropped one of them all to like spark plugs. Anyway, it's been sitting for a long while, and it's got some pretty bad gas in it, and I think that's probably contributing to it running like crap. So I guess I'm gonna go take it for a test drive and see how it feels just with a test drive. It really needs some more gas. Well guys, that cord's got a few more issues that I'm gonna have to work through. I think the fuel filter is either non-existent or something's up, because it keeps stopping up the injectors with like rusty crap. You can kind of see some of it here that I kind of tapped out of some of the little screens. It's just, it keeps filling up with that crap, and so I'm gonna have to pull the fuel pump assembly, because the fuel filter on these is built into the fuel pump. So I'm gonna pull that, I guess tomorrow maybe, and check that out, see what's going on. But I hope that shows you kind of how to go about swapping an injector or a spark plug on a, I believe it'd be a 98 to 02 Honda Accord. And that's, I mean, that for the most part is how to do most of the Honda V6s, including like the Odysseys, and also the Acura TLs. Several of those use the same type setup. So anyways, be sure to check back for more DIY videos, as well as my performance stuff, which I've been posting more of lately. I do have a K24 all-wheel drive turbo setup that I'm probably going to be starting here hopefully next week. So get pretty excited about that, and ready to get the wheels turned on that. And I'm just about done with the other Civic that I've been working on, the K24 that's front-wheel drive turbo, and it should be about 400 horsepower on that one. All it needs is an alignment and a tune, and then she'll be for sale. So if you're interested in that, shoot me a message or look me up on Facebook, which is Babs Honda Repair on Facebook. Hopefully we can get this K24 front-wheel drive car sold, and then I can take that money and finish up the all-wheel drive project. But more on that later. So appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you tune in for some more videos. Appreciate it. Peace.